So number 3, today's agenda is to look at what we call algebraic method of allocating overheads. Now, a quick reminder, remember we said generally we have got 2 types of departments. We have the producing departments, the production departments, those departments that are engaged in one way or the other in the manufacturing of the products of the company. Yeah, it could be, for example, this is where we are assembling, putting in nuts. This could be another department where we are producing, for example, some spare parts, producing things. This is a department, for example, where we are putting in like the painting, the finishing, etc. So those are departments that are involved in production of, for example, a motor vehicle. But as we produce, the employees here, for example, need to eat. So these employees who need to eat, it will be very important for us to give them like a canteen. So a canteen will be amongst those departments well within the organization, which are simply there to give support to the main production departments. So canteen and the rest, which are not involved in the direct production, will be known as what here? Service departments. Service departments, as we said, they are supporting departments, which at the end of the day should never, ever, 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 ever be given any cost to carry. Whenever you see costs in the service departments, then those expenses must always be reapportioned and given to the production departments. It is the production departments which at the end of the day must be having the total expenses. Why? It's because it is out of this production departments, we shall be able to absorb goods or other costs to goods produced. Great. Now that takes me to my today's what here agenda, which is the algebraic method here. So we are given here, good example 6 here, allocated and apportioned the overheads to the various departments. You can see them there. Estimated work done by the service center for other departments. So you can see stores. Stores gave 50%, did 50% of whatever work it did went to X. For that 30% went to Y. And then we can see, ladies and gentlemen, that stores served maintenance department. Stores and maintenance departments are what here? They are service centers. And you can see now that stores is serving the other service department. Is serving the other service department. Now listen, when you get in this case here, service departments serving each other, we call that one inter-services. And one of the models that we have that is quite effective to handle inter-services is what we call the algebraic or simultaneous equations method. Algebraic or simultaneous equations method. Simultaneous equations method. So look at this question. So if you look at this question, my friends, you'll be able to see here, they would want us to reapportion service department costs to maintenance using part B, algebraic what here? Algebraic method. Using algebraic method. Using algebraic method. Using algebraic. So using algebraic method. Using algebraic. Using algebraic method. Using algebraic what? Method. Using algebraic method. So an algebraic method, what we shall do is to form simultaneous equations. We shall form simultaneous equations. We shall form simultaneous what here? Equations. And what will happen is that these equations will be formed for each. You form simultaneous equations, form equations for each service department. Form equations for each service department. So each service department must be having its own equation. So we're going to have an equation. We're going to have an equation for what here, somebody? For canteen, it's a service department. Another equation for what here? Maintenance department. So each department that you have, service department that you have, must have an equation. Now, how do we have in this case here this equation stated? What you're supposed to know is that our total overheads of a service department must always be equal to the allocated overhead plus the services, the apportioned overhead from the other service department. Quite an important equation. Anytime they want us to get total overhead over a service department, what we shall do is to take the allocated overhead plus the apportioned overhead from the other service department. Please let me know whether you've been able to write up to here. Let me know whether you've been able to write up to here. Have you been able to write up to here? Have you been able to write up? Thank you so much. Great. So then we have got two service departments. So our service departments are here. Our service departments are here, right? So we have a service department called who? We have a service department. We have a service department called who? We have a service department called stores. So we have stores. So we have stores here, stores, and then we have another one called the maintenance. So then what I'll do is to come here and mention the total overheads. Come here and mention the total overheads. Total overheads. So we shall let the total overheads of stores be X and the total overhead of maintenance be Y. So remember, total overheads from the beginning, it's not known 100%, right? So in this case here, the total overhead will be X, and then we have Y. And then we now follow this. So allocated overhead. So then we have what we call the allocated overhead. How much has been allocated to this particular, department? So we have here allocated overhead. So the allocated overhead stores, ladies and gentlemen, stores, what do we have here? Allocated overhead. We can see the overheads are here, allocated. So stores has been given 20,000, maintenance has been given 15,000. So 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, and then we have maintenance has been allocated 10,000 like that. So please, first of all, write up to there and give me a signal once you finish writing. Eric is saying it's supposed to be 15,000. Let's see. It is 20,000, maintenance 15,000. Great. Thank you so much. Great. So this one is supposed to be 15,000. Eric, thank you so much for seeing this. 15,000, yes. 15,000. So I want to know whether you guys have been able to write up to here. Have you been able to write up to here? Have you been able to write up to here? Yes. Now from there, we'll come and talk of from services from other departments here. Services from other service departments. Very important. Services from other service departments. Very important because of this part here, right? So like stores, has a stores, in this case here, gotten service from other service departments. Fortunately, here we have got only one other service department. In short, we've got only two service departments. So has the stores received services, like now from maintenance, services from other departments? Check here, services from other departments, check here. You can see stores, of course, stores is here, right? So stores, from stores, it never received anything. I'm trying to connect with this. Stores, from stores, nothing. But you see, stores from maintenance, we got 15%. Maintenance gave us 15% of the work, 15% of the work. So in this case here, stores got 15% from maintenance. It got 15% from maintenance. So it got 15% from maintenance. How about maintenance department? Maintenance department, somebody talk to me this afternoon. Maintenance department, in this case here, must have gotten something. You know, you can see here the services being offered, right? Stores, you can see estimated work done by the service centers for other departments. So like stores did 50% to X, stores did 30% to Y, and then stores, in this case, here, did something to maintenance. Are you able to see the maintenance? Maintenance, in this case here, from the other. I would want to be very, very clear here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at services from other service departments. So like now here we are looking at maintenance. Did maintenance receive services from other? In this case here, there are only two. So did maintenance receive services from stores? Did maintenance receive services from stores? Was it served by the stores department? Was it served by the stores department? Was it served by the stores department? Was it? Please talk to me. Perhaps I should display here. Please talk to me. Was it served? Maintenance department. Was it served? Was it served by the stores? And yes, what percentage of work was done to it? What percentage of work was done to it? Maintenance. What percentage of work was done to it? What percentage of work was done to it? Right? I can see some chart here. Right? So we have 20%. So please expect to get answers from everybody so that you don't go wrong. So you can see here, stores, you're right, it served maintenance 20%. 20 it gave out of whatever service it gave out, 20% went to maintenance. So you say 20% from stores here, 20% from stores, 20% from stores. Now I love this. Look at our equation here. That the total overhead in the service department equals allocated overhead plus the apportioned. Now, what I'll do, I'll start with the stores first of all. So for stores, I have here the total overhead is X equals, allocated is what here is 20. Allocated for stores is 20,000 plus we have 15% is the same as 0.15. So 0.15 from maintenance. And the maintenance, we are taking a percentage over its total overhead. Maintenance, we know that maintenance, the total overhead is Y. So it is 15% of the maintenance cost. And we know that maintenance cost is Y, stores cost is X, like that. So it will be 0.15 of the maintenance cost. And the maintenance cost is here, X. Or rather, maintenance cost is it's Y. So 15% from maintenance, 15% from maintenance, so 0.15 of Y, like that. Now, how about the second? How about the second? So the second, ladies and gentlemen, we have here the total overhead of maintenance. Total overhead of maintenance is Y, which will be equal to the allocated. Allocated here is 15,000. Plus, can somebody in this case here tell me what term am I going to write here? Somebody in this case here talk to me. Plus what? Just try. Plus what? Just try. There's no harm in trying. There's no harm in trying. There is no harm in trying. For maintenance. For maintenance, plus what? Plus what? Thank you very much, all of you, for trying. Remember, nursery, we are doing for maintenance now. So for maintenance, we have Y equals 15,000, which is the allocated overhead, plus 20% of the store's cost, which is X. So plus 0.2 what here? X, like that. Thank you very much. Now then our work will be to plug in, to substitute, plug in, we substitute here, plug in, we substitute, plug in, we substitute, plug in, we substitute there. So plug in, we substitute here. This is equation number 1. This is equation number 2. So equation number 2, you can say from equation 2, we know that Y equals 15,000 plus 0.2x. But you see, we know the value of X. We know the equation of X. Already they made X the subject of the formula. So instead of writing X here, I'll come and write inside here 20,000 plus 0.15 Y, like that. So 0.2x, but instead of writing X, I write the X equivalent. I write the X equivalent. All right. So then my Y will be equal to 15,000 plus, could you kindly open this bracket for me? When I'm opening the bracket, of course, I expect this to multiply each one of these individually. So 20,000 times 0.2 will give me what figure? 20,000 times 0.2 will give me what figure? 20,000 times 0.2 will give me what figure? 4,000 will give me 4,000 plus, how about this with this? Because we are distributing this to each of the terms. So 0.2 times 0.15 Y, 0.2 times 0.15 will give me what figure? Somebody, you guys are bright. You guys are brilliant. You guys are brilliant. So 0.2 times 0.15 will end up giving me 0.03 Y. So 0.03 Y. Now, ladies and gentlemen, having reached there, what do you think will be the next thing to be done? Having reached here, what do you think will be the next thing we should do? What do you think will be the next thing we should do? What do you think will be the next thing to be done? Collect like terms. I love that. So like we have this term here and this term are like terms. So I want to bring this to the other side. I want to bring this to the other side. So taking this to the other side, so it has to change sign. It becomes minus. So it will be Y minus 0.03 Y equals 15,000 plus 4,000 gives me what figure? Somebody there gives me 19,000, like that. So then this minus this gives me what figure? This minus this. 0 point, right? This minus this gives me what figure? 0.97Y. So we have here 0.97Y equals 19,000, meaning that Y will be equal to 19,000 divided by 0.97, which will end up being equal to what? Which will end up being equal to what? So 19,000 divided by 0.97 will end up being equal to what? Somebody? 19,000 over 0.97 will end up being equal to what? 19,000 over 0.97 will end up being equal to 19,587. 19,587. So 19,587 point 19,587. 19,587. 19,587.63. 0.63. Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, having gotten Y, what do you think will be the next thing that we should do? Unfortunately, it's only one student who gave me this figure. I'm not saying that the student cannot be right, but for purposes of really ensuring that we shall be getting correct figures moving forward, it's just good to second. Just good to second. Have other students in this case are giving us these figures, then we get to second, we get to second, we get to second, we get to second. What do we have there? Can somebody confirm? Can someone else confirm whether we are getting the correct figure? Can someone else confirm this 19,587.6? Even if it's saying yes, or writing the same figure or a different figure, if your figures are different, I've got no worries at all. Yes, thank you so much. Now then, having gotten y, we can easily get x from equation 1. So you can easily come here, get x from equation 1. So from equation 1, so from equation 1, so from equation 1, x equals from equation 1, x equals 20,000 plus 0.15y, and y is 19,587.63. So then could you kindly come and give me the final answer? Give me the final answer here. So plus 0.15 times 19 times 19, 587.63. 587.63. So could you kindly give me the final answer? Kindly give me the final answer. Yeah, 49,381. Eric is getting a different figure. Whose figure do we trust now? Whose figure do we trust now? It's 20,000 plus 0.15 times the figure that you got here, times the figure that you got there. Please, the students also contribute. We have one student here who should also give us answers so that this class becomes fruitful, because the other two have gotten answers, great answers, but unfortunately or fortunately they are different, and I'm relying on your figures. So nursery gives me 22,938. Oh, Eric, I know you never added this 20,000. Eric, you never added that 20,000. So it should be 22,938. 22,938. Point what here? 0.14. That is it. Now, the only thing you need to do is to come and give us an overhead distribution schedule. So give us an overhead distribution schedule. So come here and give us an overhead distribution schedule. Overhead distribution schedule. Overhead distribution schedule. Overhead distribution schedule. So go back to our question. So going back to our question, this is our question. So this is our question. So these are our departments. We have X, Y, stores and maintenance. So we have X, Y, and then we have stores and then maintenance. So give us the allocated overheads. I'm simply copying this figure, allocated overheads, I'm copying this figure. So we have 70,000, 30,000, 70,000, 30,000. And then stores, we have 20,000, 20,000, 15,000, like that. Okay. Now, so we want to remove monies from the store and from the maintenance. Why are we removing money from there? It's simply because the two departments are what here? The two departments are service departments. So come and tell us here from stores. From stores. So remember stores, the total overhead is not this 20,000. Stores, the total overhead of stores was X, if you remember. And the stores, now we're going to remove the entire X figure. And the entire X figure is here. It is 22,938.14. And then fortunately, from stores, we are removing this entire X, the total overhead X. So from stores, we happen to be having the ratios, the percentages. So from stores, we happen to be having the percentages. So these are the percentages. These are the percentages. Percentages of stores are 50%, 30%, 0, and 20. So we have 50%, 30%, 0, and 20%. Like that. So could you be kind to me and give me this figure apportioned in these percentages? Please be kind to me. Give me this figure apportioned in this percentage. So X will be 50% of this figure. Please give me something to write here. 50% of this. Yeah, your numbers, right? So 50% of this. What are we getting there? 11,469. 11,469 point. 11,469 thank you very much. 07. How about 30% of this? 30% of this. 30%. 30% of this. I'm now on to the second percentage. Second percentage. So 30% of this. What are we getting here? 6881. So we have here 6881.44. And then the last one is 20%. 20% of this. 20% of this. Please give me a figure to write here. 20% of this. Please give me a figure to write. So we have here 4587. 4587.63 to be consistent with decimal places. And then now we come and say from maintenance. So from maintenance, how much should I subtract from the maintenance department? How much should I subtract from the maintenance department? Is there somebody who can give us a value, even if it's through guessing? How much should we subtract from maintenance? How much should we subtract from maintenance? Yes, remember maintenance, the total cost is Y, the one that you got. For maintenance, the total cost is Y, the one that we got. So in this case here, from maintenance, we are subtracting from maintenance, we are subtracting 19, we are subtracting 19,587.63, like that. So from maintenance, we are subtracting that. We are subtracting that from maintenance. From maintenance. Using what percentages? Using what percentages? Using what percentages? Using what percentages? We have 45%, 40%, 15%. 45%, 45%. We have 40%, 40%, and then lastly, 15%. Of course, the very last one is 0, so it doesn't really have a lot of weight there. So then give me 45% of that figure there. Please give me 45%. So Nasri is giving me 8814.43. 8814.43. Thank you very much. How about 40% of that figure? How about 40% of that figure? $78.35, $78.35, $78.35.05. Thank you so much. And then lastly, now we have 15%, 15% of that figure, 15% of that figure. $29.38. So this is 29.38.14. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So please come and give us the total overheads now. So give us the total overheads for each department, the ones now that will be absorbed to the cost units, So please come here and give me the total overheads. So you're adding 3, add 3, add 3, add 3. Give me the figures. So 90,283.5. So 90,283.5. And then we have Y. So Y would give us what figure Y? So we're adding. $44,716. 44,716.49. Thank you. Go to stores. Please add up. Everything under stores, please add up. Everything under stores, please add up for us. Zero. How about maintenance? Zero as well. Thank you very much. Is there anybody who is surprised that the last two departments have got 0 zeros? Is there anybody who is surprised that the last department have got 0 zeros? Anybody surprised because of that? Anybody surprised? No, really, that was the objective, to ensure that service departments here do not carry any cost. So it has been a pleasure hosting you this afternoon. I look forward in this case here to having another session later in the afternoon, later towards the evening there. So I'll be making an announcement. Otherwise, I hope you guys are enjoying your online studies. Bye-bye. Bye.